This is the mixed meter study on page 24 by Whaley. I'm going to set my metronome at 120. Okay, let's talk our way through the piece. In the first section, we have a number of multimeter phrases, but the legato notes, the slurs, and the beaming of the notes all tell us how the piece should be grouped. So the first two bars are in 7/8 and are grouped 2-2-3. So you don't want to try to phrase in one group of 7. You want to try to give 3 groupings, 2 + 2 + 3. So the second bar. Then 2 + 3 and 2 + 3, and then 2 + 2 + 3. That completes out the phrase, right? So I'll play that a little bit slowly. All right, and I'm starting at mezzo forte, and then the first note of the next section is going to be forte. I'm only doing one double in the entire section. If you start with your left hand on the first E, 1, 2, 3, in measure 4, I'm doing a double right from F sharp, G, A. That's the only double I need in the entire section. I'll play the entire section again one more time slowly. Okay, now we're in the second section. This is a very highly chromatic section. Take your time. Make sure you're playing every pitch right. Right, little chromatic up from E flat to A flat. Again, double right, E flat to, it's written as F sharp there. It could be G flat also. Double right there in the 5/8 bar at the end of the second line. Then the next 3 bars are this sort of strange little chromatic figure that sort of goes over the bar line. It's written in 5/8, but it's sort of phrased in 4. So I'll start at the beginning of the section again and go slow. Okay, then you have the first measure again. Then you have the transition into the next section. So it goes up chromatically to G, then down, skips E flat, then you have the E flat coming up from the D, right? So it's right, so you don't play the E flat on the way down to the D, but you do play it on the way back up to the E natural that starts the third section. So I'll play that second section again slow. All right, so take your time with that. Make sure that you're not hitting the wrong pitch, doubling any notes, anything like that. Then the third section is almost identical to the first section except for the last bar, which transitions into the section after that. So I'll just play that quickly. Same thing back at mezzo forte and still working on slurring those groupings. Double right in the same place. Now in the transition bar, the 3/8 bar at the end of the 5th line, I'm doing a double right on the G to F natural, C sharp, change at 6/8, then we move to the rolls, and it's also piano. All right, so here's that third section again. Okay, as we start the fourth section now, it is okay, because we want it to be rolled and legato and piano, it is okay to pull the tempo back a little bit, right? So this could be like a poco meno mosso section. There are not a lot of phrase markings indicated through this phrase, but I'm essentially playing the entire phrase as one big slur. So I'm only breaking the roll in the last bar of the section where there's a note that doesn't have a roll. Right, so we have a little Hemiola thing that goes between the two bars. Right, so we have a Hemiola. The 6/8 bars have 2 dotted quarter notes, 3/8 notes apiece, and then the following bar is 3/4, 3 quarter notes, 2 1/8 notes apiece. Right, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and. So the 8th note stays the same throughout, but again, it can be a little slower than 120. The only difference to the phrasing is in the last bar we have a roll on the G, F, single note on the E, then we resolve on the D. Notice that the D also does not hold all the way through the bar. You have a specific note length and then a specific rest after that, right? So don't hold that D over. It should be 3/8 notes and then 3/8 notes of rest before we head into the next section. All right, so here's section 4 again. Right, so 1, 2, 3 off. Keep the roll nice and smooth. Keep the hand speed stable. Don't try to roll too fast or too slow, right? You don't want, right? And you also don't want, right? So where your roll loses evenness and stability, right? So it's okay to take a little time here and stretch back and forth in order to keep your roll smooth through the phrase. Okay, section 5, different character. Forte now, we move back into 4/4 time, but now all the notes in this section have staccato dots. So you'll see that I'm using a short, very clipped stroke in order to contrast that against the legato of the first sections, right? So versus right, etc. First measure's in 4/4, second measure's in 6/8, third measure's in 4/4, fourth measure's in 5/8. So don't play the quarter note at the end of that line as if it's a dotted quarter note. You have to play it shorter, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, right? So that second pulse in that 5/8 bar is going to be a little bit shorter, both for that bar and then for the final bar. The phrase is essentially the same both times, except that the first half of the phrase is A down to F. The second time is A down to F sharp and E flat. And that brings us back into the introductory material, and we change back into the original key with 1 sharp. All right, so here's the 5th section. Ready, go. Chromaticism there, and then that brings us back to the first section. The final section of the piece recaps the first and second sections. So the first 2 bars are from the first section, mezzo forte with our legatos. No double strokes there. Notice also the difference between the F sharp in the key signature and then the F naturals that we have that alternate between bars. Notice that in those sections throughout the beginning of the piece. Right, one more time there. Then the first 2 measures of the second section, back at forte. Then Then the first two bars again, mezzo forte, but now we're starting diminuendo. Then the final bar, we should be basically at piano. I'm doing a double left, double right on B to C, left hand on the B, and then we have the E. We're diminuendoing all the way down to pianissimo, and the notes in that bar are staccato. So what I'm actually doing is I'm moving to the node, and then striking the final note, pianissimo with an accent in the center, so that that note speaks out clearly. By playing on the node, we pull out a little bit of the resonance, we make the sound a little bit more staccato, and it helps us play a little bit softer. All right, so here's the final 4 bars. Right, and the piece sort of just trails away from there. All right, let's try that one more time. I set the metronome at 120. It says with spirit. I think anything above 110 or faster will be fine. If you can get it up to 126 or so, that's great, but I'm doing it in 120 here so you can hear what's going on. I'll reset here and we'll play the piece one more time.